Today we're looking at something, well, really fundamental for software platforms that want to embed payments, especially thinking about their clients, those small and medium businesses.
Right. We're talking about merchant onboarding, getting that process smooth.
Exactly. It's that first essential step for unlocking revenue and making sure the user experience is seamless right from the start.
And just to mention, a lot of what we're discussing comes from a helpful NMI article.
Good point. So our aim here is to break down this critical first phase of the payments journey. Hopefully you'll walk away with insights to enhance your own offerings and, well, your profitability.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first things first. When we say onboarding in this payment context, what are we actually describing?
Yeah, good question. So onboarding and payments, it's basically the whole journey a new merchant, a new user takes. It starts the moment they decide, okay, I want to sign up. And it ends when they're fully approved and actually ready to start processing transactions.
So sign up to go live, essentially.
Exactly. And it's a really significant step. It's not just paperwork. This is where vital risk assessment happens.
Yeah.
That's absolutely key for, risk management, protecting the platform, protecting the processor, and ensuring the whole payment operation can be profitable.
Okay, so risk is a big part of it. What's actually going on behind the curtain after someone clicks sign up?
Well, it's quite a structured flow. First, obviously, the user has to fill out a sign-up form. They provide details about their business, personal info, financials, credit history, that kind of thing.
The standard stuff you'd expect.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Then that information has to be securely transmitted over to the payment processing partner. They're the ones who handle the vetting.
Securely, that's key. And then what do they do with all that data?
That kicks off what's called underwriting. And this is a really thorough evaluation. We're talking about assessing potential risk.
How thorough are we talking?
It can be surprisingly deep, sometimes involving checks against potentially over 100 different data points, maybe even more in complex cases. It's all designed to figure out the level of risk associated with bringing this specific user onto the platform. So after underwriting is complete, there's a decision. It's either an approval or a decline.
Makes sense.
If approved, the user gets their merchant account set up and, crucially, a unique merchant identification number. Think of it like their specific account number for processing payments.
Right, their unique identifier.
Exactly. And also, any extra services they opted into during sign-up, maybe things like fraud management tools, those get activated at this point, too.
That sounds like it could take a while. What's a typical turnaround time?
It's often faster than people might think. While, sure, some complex cases might take a bit longer for review, the vast majority of sign-ups, they're typically reviewed and decided on within a day. Often, honestly, it's just within a few hours.
Oh, really? That's pretty quick.
Yeah. The goal is always to get legitimate users onboarded and able to process and, generate revenue as quickly and smoothly as possible.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about the monetization aspect. Why is getting this onboarding piece right so critical for actually making money from embedded payments?
Oh, it's hugely important. Onboarding directly impacts your ability to generate revenue from payments in a few key ways. First, and maybe most obviously, it sets the tone. It's the first real interaction the merchant has with your payment service.
That first impression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If that sign-up process is clunky or frustrating or confusing, it creates a negative perception right away. And that can color how they view your entire service moving forward, even if the rest is great.
Yeah, that initial hurdle can be tough to overcome mentally.
Totally. And second, because underwriting does require a fair amount of information, the sign-up process itself can become a real sticking point, a pain point for users.
Right, asking for a lot of data.
Yeah. If your sign-up form isn't well designed, if it's not intuitive, if it feels like too much work, users might just abandon it. Especially today when, let's be honest, they likely have other options they can turn to. In this competitive landscape, frictionless onboarding isn't just a nice-to-have. It's pretty much essential for keeping users and staying competitive. If yours is slow or difficult, they can, and often will, look elsewhere.
Makes sense.
And finally, and this ties back to the risk piece, effective onboarding directly impacts your bottom line.
Okay, so it protects revenue and ensures you're pricing appropriately for the risk. We understand why smooth onboarding is vital. What are the main ways software platforms can actually, integrate this sign-up process technically?
Right. There are generally three main paths or approaches for integrating the sign-up. And each one offers a different kind of balance between speed of implementation, level of control, and, well, technical complexity.
Okay, what's the first option?
The first one is usually the quickest and simplest. a no-code, white-label solution. Here, you're basically using a pre-built sign-up form that's provided and hosted by your payment processing partner.
Ah, so off the shelf.
Kind of, yeah. You can usually brand it with your logo and colors, make it look like yours, but the form itself and the hosting are handled by the partner. The main downside is you have less control over the exact fields or flow, and importantly, the user typically has to leave your platform environment to complete it.
Right, which might not be the ideal user experience. What's the next step up?
The next level is often called a low-code embeddable sign-up. This uses pre-written code snippets like JavaScript components or iframes that your developers can embed directly within your own platform's interface.
Okay, so it feels more integrated.
Exactly. It strikes a nice balance. It's generally faster to implement than a fully custom build, but it gives you more control than the white label option. And crucially, the user stays within your application environment throughout the process. That feels much more seamless.
That sounds like a popular middle ground. And the third option, the most involved one.
That would be the fully API-driven custom signup. With this approach, your platform connects directly to your payment partner's application programming interfaces, their APIs.
So full control.
Pretty much, yes. This gives you complete control over the entire sign-up user interface and experience. You design it from the ground up within your software. It allows for maximum flexibility and enables more advanced features, too.
Like what kind of features?
Well, things like dynamically adjusting pricing based on user data, or maybe pre-filling parts of the form using information you already have about the user in your system. That makes the process even faster and smoother for them.
Okay, so that offers the most seamless experience potentially,
Yeah.
but likely requires more development resources.
Exactly. The best choice really depends on your team's technical expertise, the specific needs and complexity of your platform, and ultimately how much control you really want or need over that user experience.
Makes sense. And it's probably not set in stone either, right? Platforms can evolve.
Oh, absolutely. That's a key point.
Hmm.
This decision isn't permanent. You might start with a white label or embeddable option to get going quickly, and then maybe migrate to an API-driven approach later as your platform grows, as your team grows, or as your needs become more sophisticated.
That's good to know. This has been really insightful. It's very clear that onboarding isn't just a form. It's truly the initial, and you could argue maybe the most complex stage of the whole payments journey.
Yeah, I'd agree. It really is the groundwork. How well you handle onboarding significantly impacts the quality of the payment service you can offer, the operational ease for both you and your users, and ultimately your overall success and profitability with integrated payments.
And you mentioned this is just the first part of looking at the payments journey.
That's right. This onboarding piece is critical, but it's just the start. We'll be exploring other crucial aspects, other key journeys within payments in future discussions. So definitely keep an eye out for those if this is useful.
Fantastic. We'll look forward to that. So as you listening think about your own platform, maybe consider this. How positive is that vital first onboarding step for your users right now? What might be the lasting effects, good or bad, of that initial experience on your long-term growth and your customer loyalty? Definitely something worth mulling over. Thanks for tuning into this deep dive.